Well, hey everyone, it's Patrick Bell from Leader Publishing Worldwide, and we are talking today about profit acceleration software. This is a Q&A call. I am normally joined by our illustrious leader, Carl Bryan. He is away on family business. Something's going on there with an extended family member. I don't know any details, but he is off, I think, for a few days. So let me just open up one of you and see if I'm coming through. You can see my screen. Maybe Ross can tell. Ross, are you there? Try again.
There you go. Okay. Yep. All's good, Pat. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing really well. Thank you for
How's
asking.
that small apartment?
It's actually not that small. I was joking with that picture. It's a three-bedroom apartment. Ross was just saying, for everyone listening, I just posted this picture of all my three grown-up kids piling on one bed saying, hey, we got to take turns sleeping. But it's now we're in a little three-bedroom. It's a very noisy though. I tell you, the Dominican Republic is full of action, and everyone's trying to play the music the loudest, and every dog wants to bark and every rooster wants to crow. And so if we get drowned out in the background from some little moto concho going up the street, you'll know why. So
It's a little fit going on there.
it is. There's someone coming by right now. Oh my goodness. Anyway, it's a lot of fun, and we're in Christmas season, so we're trying not to work too hard. And I'm just telling you guys, I love this. I'm spending my day dreaming up new stuff on the software, and we're going to have a lot of fun with this. We're going to not transition, but we're going to increase an element of fun and think up gamification. That's where we're going. So we're going to have fun with the software and generating leads and making money. So how are you doing, Ross?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm good.
Yeah, you got any questions for me while we're going here?
No, not this minute, unless, well, one of my clients, he's just starting out, but he's a videographer, and we did a barter deal. So
Okay.
I'll coach him, and he did a video for me. He's going to send actually a video. He's out in Tennessee, and
Yeah.
he's sending a videographer out here. And
Wow.
he said we had a Zoom for about an hour, and he put one together right off the cuff. And I got it this morning, and it came out phenomenal.
Wow.
And I put it on Alignable. I put it on LinkedIn in a couple of groups, and so far I've gotten a lot of likes, but no one has contacted me yet. But any ideas from your side on how you could market that?
Well, I was thinking, in the video, do you have a market dominating position and a call to action in that video?
You know what? No, I don't.
Okay. So
Good
here's the
point.
great thing about videographers. They know how to do video, but they don't know how to market generally. And go back to the wrong, everything is wrong video at the end of, I guess, no results - no fee /wrong. Let's pull it up here for everyone to see. And the more I think about this video, the more I just love it, because the power of what's happening in this. And I tell you, sometimes we do our own marketing and we forget to include our own common sense that we're teaching. So just a feedback there. I've got a little of experience working with videographers, in the partnership, and like they're looking for ways to grow as well. I had a videographer, he's charging me like $5,000 for a video. I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, well, there's so much work, Pat, in putting together a video. I'm like, well, I don't know anything about it. Tell me what work's involved. And he's like, you got to do this and that. I go, no, like lay it out in a document, everything you do to justify this $5,000 fee. Like, why would I buy from you instead of getting a video done from some guy in India? And he's like, well, so anyway, he came back like 3 or 4 or 5 days later. I forget, it was years ago. And it's like this 3 or 4 page document. I'm like, that's what you need to put on your website, because no one knows this, right? That's really, really key for videographers. Have to educate why they are the only logical choice to come to. And that's detailed education. Just a little heads up there.
No, that's great news because I'm going to add it to the video that he does when he comes here. And you're absolutely right. He was asking me all these questions, and it just didn't, it just, as you're trying to answer these questions, I just, could have easily thrown that $100,000 in under 45 minutes in. He does have my phone number. Give me a call. But
yeah.
You're dead on. You're right on.
That's good. It reminds me of, I learned this from, where was it? It was Claude Hopkins, I think, My Life in Advertising, if you've ever read that. If you haven't read it, it's a great read. It's a classic read on advertising or selling. And I think it's in common or public domain now. It's so old. It's probably like 120 years old or something. I don't know. But anyway, he was invited into Schlitz Beer, to market Schlitz Beer. At the time, they were number 5 in the market. And so he has to go into their factory and their headquarters and figure out what they're doing and find a way to give them a market dominating position. So he's going through all these things and looking at how they craft the beer and the water's purified and all that. And he goes, man, why don't you just tell the story about how this beer is built? And everyone says, well, or the people say, well, everyone does it exactly the same way. And so he says, but no one knows that. The first person to educate the market, the local market, the national market, whatever, on what the process is the person that is the market educator. So they came out with all these ads. Back then it was in the newspaper, it was black and white, and they educated the public on the purity of Schlitz beer. And they went to number 1 in the market. I don't know if it was a year or two, but they went to number 1 because they were the first people to educate the public on the purity of the beer, even though everyone else is doing it the same way. So just a little lesson there for the videographer and even for all of us as we're out there marketing is the more you educate, the more you sell. And in fact, something that we need to do as people, as coaches, is that every piece of marketing material that leaves your desk should be educational in nature and designed to serve. And once in a while, we ask for the sale. But we want people to think, oh, here comes another marketing piece from Ross. I'm going to learn something. I'm looking forward to it. So
Gotcha.
Just a little, yeah. Cool. All right. Well, Ross, I'm going to put you on mute.
Thanks, Pat.
Great to chat with you briefly. Say that again.
Have some conch.
I don't know what that is.
It's small clams.
Okay. Are they safe to eat?
Yeah, they're very good.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, all right. Talk to you later. I'm going to cruise up the board here, up and down the board. Charles Wilds. He is the only person with a hand up. And if we don't get another hand up by the time Charles is done asking his question, this will be a very short call indeed, which is okay for me because my family went off to the beach and I'm going to join them when we're done. But it is not to say that I'm not going to be here the entire time to serve you guys as long as you have questions. So Charles, you're live.
Pat, good afternoon.
How are you today? Oh, you muted yourself, I think. There you go. You're flickering. There you go. You're back.
Yeah, I'm unmuted. It's a sunny spring type day here in Houston, and it's not cold and it's not hot, and it's just right.
I love Houston area. I know a lot of people kind of disrespect it because of the heat, but I got a lot of family there, so been there a few times.
The question I got, Pat, and I commend you guys on what you've been doing. Done an extraordinary job with the program and the platform. One of the things that's on my mind, we've talked about the 3-step process of an introductory call, then give them a short form of the 10K, and then ask them questions, and then come back and give them an analysis report. If we do the Jumpstart 12, Have you ever prepared an outline of, like a simple cheat sheet so we don't have to go through page by page by page of the key fill in the blank points? Have you ever done that, or do I need to do that?
I've never done it. Um, what I've had in the past, and this is why you'd probably use the Jumpstart 40, which is really 27 areas.
Mhm.
Jumpstart 40 has different sections that are my preferred go-to. Like I think of, for me, I've got a couple that aren't in the Jumpstart 12. One is referral systems, and the other is reactivating former clients. So we call them referral systems because if you ask for a referral, it's a question. If you ask for a referral at the same time of the buying process, it's a system. And there's no reason you can't have multiple systems in place for referrals. And I think of so many different ways, to get referrals. I've studied a lot. So I like going there. I've never actually put together a list. I've printed out posters and things of my favorite questions before, and it's not a bad exercise actually if you wanted to, get a piece of poster paper and go through and just print out your favorite questions from all the software, or just write them on a piece of poster. And if I'm on the phone or I'm in a Zoom call or whatever, I can just look at this poster right in front of me and I go, oh, activate former customers. And you go, boom, and here's the first question you ask, whatever it is, and say, Joe, let me ask you. I mean, obviously, you can just click on the button in the software as well, which is the preferred way to do it. But it helps to just brainstorm a little bit sometimes and just have different areas right in front of you that you want to ask. So sometimes those questions are staring you in the face if you've got them printed out in the poster or something, and then you can just go in the software and click on the area, type in the answer, find the impact, and show your results. Does that help?
I take your point, and it's a good point. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You were just showing us the access to the wrong video.
Yeah.
How is the best way to use that? Is it best to do because it's a pretty long video. Is it better to send the link to a group, or is it to invite people to an open webinar and then you start it, or what's your thought?
I would use this after an initial conversation. Okay, let me just preface this by saying Carl and Adrian probably have different ideas, and they might be better than mine, and other people, the other couple dozen people on the call here might have other ideas as well, and they might be better than mine. And so if you have a better idea, raise your hand. But the way I would do it is, I have a conversation with Guy here, even the Dominican Republic here. I'm talking to my neighbor downstairs who runs a real estate business here. And he's like, I'm preparing a new marketing campaign. And I'm going, I've known him now for a week, and we've talked about business a little bit. And I go, man, dude, you got to go watch the wrong video. It's like, the what? So I sent him the link. Said, watch this, let's have a conversation. So it's something like that. I think you just kind of gut instinct, it's available. It's a tool that's in your tool belt. You can pull it out anytime if you think it's appropriate. I don't have a formal system for it.
You've answered my question.
All right. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that's all I've got for the moment.
Sure. Yeah, I'm in the strange place in life where I have stepped out of coaching for the last couple of years just to work exclusively with Leader, which I love because I just get to dream all day on software. Not all day, but solid 4 hours a day, which is really my sweet spot. But I know as I'm moving to Kenya next month, and I'm going to be out helping people and doing seminars and different things, that people are going to say, hey, can you help me, or whatever. So, I've got now my membership site set up, and I just want to be able to help people that need help. But I don't want to get bogged down helping people that I can't work full-time for Leader. So I'm going to find a way to either put people on my membership site, get them into group coaching or something. But I'm going to be back in the game in a little bit, and really looking forward to seeing how that works. I love speaking from the stage. It's one of probably my sweet spot for getting clients. And I know that Everything is Wrong video has so much great content in it that is adaptable into your own style as well. So you can cut it down, you can shorten it, you can lengthen it, depending on what you're doing. But it's just it's a great, even a great presentation from the stage. So I think, Charles, you can use it any way you like.
Great. Thank you, Pat.
You are welcome.
That's all I got.
Okay. Good, good. Thanks, Charles.
Happy Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you, and to you too. All right, cruising down there, Linda Lewis. All right, Linda, you should be live. Are you there? There we go.
Okay. Yes, thank you.
Hey, good to hear your voice.
Yeah, thanks. Good to be here with you a couple days before the big Christmas day.
Yeah.
I just did a PAS with somebody and a question came up about on the implementation timeline.
Yeah.
When it comes up with a implementation of something that we're going to do in, say, I don't know, let's go with September, October, increase prices.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, does the software assume that that impact is going to be in effect only for, say, November and December of the first year? So when it calculates the dollar value, in this case, the 35.4, it's only assuming the increased price was in effect for 2 months?
Oh, such a great question. About 2 years ago, I built a spreadsheet that went along with this. And yeah, okay, so here's the challenge. Let's say we start with market dominating position. You say that if you make an impact in market dominating position and you're going to get a 5% impact, that's going to be 5% over the course of a year, which means, let's say I've got it here on my calendar and starting February 2020. I'm not going to see any impact in February. I'm only going to see the impact starting in March, perhaps, and possibly April. But that means starting in April, I see the impact, but I don't see a 5% impact right away on revenue. I might see 1/12 of 5%. And then May, I see another 12th. In June, I see another 12th. So it ramps up over time. So I built this kind of a complicated spreadsheet based on, let's say we're going to increase prices in August, and then we're going to add bundling in October. How does this work? And it was kind of interesting because the actual revenue impact in the early months was very minimal. And I was thinking I would use that so we could show clients and say, hey, look, if you're just around for 3 months, we're going to make a minimal impact here. But look what happens over the next 18 months, how this ramps up. So we still might work with that. Now, part 2 of this answer is that William is working on this implementation calendar full-time in a 3-stage project. This doesn't really answer your question, but I'll just tell you what's happening with this. We are changing it from monthly to weekly, and you'll be able to insert the starting week that you're going to start in, and it's going to highlight where you are in the week. And then you're going to be able to add initial planning meetings, and if you want to add quarterly reviews, it's going to insert them in the calendar automatically. So even if bundling, say, is 4 weeks, and the 3rd week we should be doing a quarterly review, it just breaks up bundling and puts 2 weeks before, 2 weeks after. It's I think a lot more clever. So that's phase 1. That's probably another, that could even be this week, maybe next week. Anyway, by the end of the year.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know, maybe even by tomorrow. We'll see what he does, see how he comes out with this. So I'd love to have it before Christmas. Anyway, so part 2 will be a simplified coaching sheet that you can get in and start digging in with questions to your clients around what they're doing, what what kind of metrics they're coming out with, which kind of tie in with the implementation calendar. It's for those who don't want to put a lot of effort into the coaching and just want to show up and kind of ask some basic questions, which shame on all of us if we're doing that. But the reality is 80% of us probably are, oh, I've got a client in 1 minute. What's his name? What's the company? Where did we talk about last week? So we want to solve that for you. And so you can open up his file literally with 8 seconds to spare. You know exactly what you talked about last week. You know exactly what you're going to talk about this week, and you're going to lead them through that process. And it's the lazy man's way to coaching. That's part 2. That'll be a couple months in the process. And then part 3 will be these green buttons here that you'll be able to move around, and actually you'll be able to click on, say, market dominating position, green button, and it opens up into all the steps have their own implementation buttons in there and responsible people, and just going to be, it's kind of like eye candy, but it's going to be really like a more intelligent system. So does it, let me get back to your question. Sorry, taking the long way around here. Does it show the impact? No, it's a sales tool, first of all. It's just like the original goal was the average coach kept an average client for 3 months, on average. I wanted to be able to find a way to extend this into 1 year. So we want clients to be able to see, hey, this is not a January, February, March relationship. This is a January through December. And actually, with the new one coming, we'll have a scroll bar. You can see it's going to go into whatever June of next year. We want them to see this is not a short-term deal and it's a sales tool, but it's evolving over time. So it's a really good point. If we don't get to bundling until later in the year, how does that impact revenue? It obviously does. And I think the responsible thing would be for us to review that and build that into the charts. It's actually a little disappointing because it means you're not going to have all the revenue happening through the year. Now, what happens in the intelligent, in the intelligence system, it's going to come. In part 3, it's going to come. And then we want to have it. So let's say we're doing market dominating position. At the same time, we want to do compelling offer. I can take compelling offer. I hopefully be able to slide that green bar over under market dominating position. We're going to work on them both in February. And it's going to update all the revenue possibilities throughout what revenue is possible and what money you should be expecting.
Okay.
Will it be perfect? No. This is, as Carl says, we do phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. So we've done phase 1. We're going to now go into phase 2 of this. And I'm sure there'll be a phase 3, 4, and 5.
So for now, it's kind of, it is a sales tool, and it's kind of assuming that all of these things are in place for 12 months.
Over the next 12 months. Yeah. But you know what? If you only found 3 areas, and you might be able to do them all in total in 3 months or 4 months, or cut costs might not take you any time. It might take you 1 meeting. It really depends on the size of the business. If you're working in a $10, $20 million company, you can talk about market dominating position, but they've got layers of committees that you've got to go through to get anything approved. And it's a whole different animal then.
Well, it also seems like some of these things, we want to revisit with the client. So
for sure.
I might even want market dominating position on their, second and third month of the year. And then it seems like for some of these companies I'm working with, it's good to revisit that again in August because some of the other things are impacting it now.
That's a really good point. So, but do you need to have a month dedicated to it, or could you have 30 minutes in a session that you bundle with something else?
Yeah, right.
Or is something you do between sessions, or you just, have that conversation over one session. do we want to build? I don't know. I mean, it's just starting to complicate things a lot, and every business is different. So that's the challenge for sure. I agree with you.
Well, I really like the idea of being able, so it sounds like phase 2 is being able to kind of take notes and work out of PAS when we're working with a client and keep track of what we did and what we're doing next. Is that right?
I think you'll be working off of this screen. And we might change the screen up a little bit, and but it might be working right off of the screen. Or I bet you, I think what William's doing is we're going to put a little icon here. Let's say between the word cut costs and the number 1, we'll put a little icon, and that opens up your notepad where you your notes for that day will all be kept. So there's the other thing that I want to add to pretty much all of the implementation links. And the last step in implementation, I'll notice here, is establish policies. Okay, which in hindsight is short-sighted, because the step that you have to take after that, let's call them SOPs or whatever, you have to train people on SOPs. So you can establish them, but it doesn't mean anyone's going to ever do them. So we look at this profit impact here of $35,000, but we have a 5-year profit impact of $177,000. You can establish SOPs and get this, but you will not get this unless you train the people over a period of time, and that's how you get the long-term profit impact. And these are kind of things that are best done by a workshop where you say, hey, tell your team, you tell Mr. Jones, tell your team that next week we're going to come in and we're going to be doing a workshop on training them over how to ask every client, a question which relates to the market dominating position, for example. And then, when you do a level of training, their level increases from, let's say, a baseline of incompetence, call it out of 100, we'll give them a 10. Their competence shoots up to a 50. And then by next week, it's down to a 12. It doesn't go all the way to 10, but it's probably down to 12 or 13. And then you got to train them again, and it goes up to 60, and then it shoots back down to 15 or 20. What's a lot better than 10, and it's doesn't go all the way back to 10, but it doesn't stay up. But you have to keep training over and over and over and over and over again until you get everyone to a level of competence. So what we're going to do is build into the implementation steps a period of training that you can opt into or whatever if you need it, feel it's appropriate. But we want to be able to put that in the calendar if you think it's necessary to train people on SOPs once you've done something like compelling offer or upselling. Upselling, cross-selling is a great one to offer training on to staff. So things are coming, things are changing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, there's so many things we'd like to do. We're just, we got 2 developers working full-time on 2 different projects, and I'm designing the 3rd project for whoever finishes it first, their job first. So,
well, just to throw one more thing at you.
Sure.
What about the businesses? I've run into some that are very seasonal, and so their offer changes depending on the season. And so the implementation calendar really needs to reflect a new offer, a new drip campaign, because of the seasonal work that they do.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it needs to reflect it, but it might be, say, in the first part of implementation. Let's say you work with an ice cream shop in Canada. In summer, they're just selling ice cream, but you kind of revert into a coffee shop, donut shop in winter. Okay, basic example. You're going to come up with a market dominating position for them in that time period. And you say, look, in May through September, this is what you need to focus on. Here's your offer. But October to April, we need to do something else. What's it going to be? I'd come up with it right there. And I maybe even just focus on what's immediate in front of them. You've got to get money in the door, because if you're not making them money in 2 or 3 months, you're going to be out the door.
Yeah.
So get them some money, and then you can go, hey, in 3 months, this is coming up. We've got to put some marketing together. We've got to, probably should be 2 or 3 months early, whatever. If you're going to do advertising in magazines, whatever you're going to do, you just put it on a timetable, put it in a Gantt chart, whatever. And I mean, that's what professionals do. That's what we need to do. Try to think better than the client does.
Nice. I like it. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks, Linda, for those great questions. All right, I'm going to put you on mute. I'm going to go and hunt for someone else who's got a question. I think Ken had a question here. He is just asking. Okay, Ken, initial training on the software. No, that won't come with Walt. I think it just in here, let's see here. In here, resources. Even forget where things are. Under here, important LPW resources, it's got PAS training there. So it's also at noresults-nofee.com/software. But here's the software there. Ken, just go through here. Here's the training, go through here. The best way to do this training, wait for that motorbike to go by. Best way to do the training is have a couple tabs open. One is your software. One is this one, obviously. Seems logical, but there are people who have were kind of amazed at this novel idea that you would watch a video and then actually go and do something that it says to do, and not just watch all the videos. So watch the video, Ken, go and do it. Watch the next video, go and do it. You should be through these in an hour, hour and a half. I don't know. Great video at the end by Wally Carmichael. Shows how he can go through and close a client. It was actually rather imperfectly, and Wally probably wouldn't mind me saying that. That was probably his first one. Made a lot of mistakes. Still closed the client because it's still an awesome program. Do you use the wrong video? Ken's asking, do you use the wrong video as a key qualifier for a new prospect before scheduling an appointment to present the Profit Acceleration software? Ken, you can. Not necessarily. It's up to you. Some people are just hungry. It's like, hey, I want to meet. They want to meet. They're not humming and hawing. It's like, hey, come into my office next Wednesday at 1 o'clock, and we got to talk about this. You don't need them to watch the everything is wrong video. It might help them. You might suggest it. Some people are just busy. You just show up, do your meeting, and kind of educate and ask questions along the way. Sometimes it's just the power of the questions you ask that people go crazy over, because you're asking questions they have never once asked, and they know they're doing it. So just as a summary, some of the questions I love, let me close that up and move this over. You could even collect for yourself a great series of questions. I mean, there's one in the valuation here. You don't have to go through all the valuation questions with someone, but question 7, are your marketing and sales processes documented so that sales are predictable? Like, who can say yes to that? 1 in 100 companies, but they all want it because everyone wants predictable sales. And the fact that you're asking the question shows that you're just a genius, because you're asking it, and you wouldn't ask it unless you could help them do it. So I gather a bunch of questions like this that you love to ask. That I like asking the question: do you have the capacity to handle a sudden influx of new business? Because that's what everyone wants. But I mean, for some people, Ken, just if you think, man, I don't know if they're humming and hawing, and say, hey, go and watch this. Let me know what you think, and I'll follow up with you before we meet. Might be a fair way to pre-qualify them. All right, Tony Plies coming for you. Tony. How's it going? Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can. How are you
All right.
today?
Good, good. How you doing?
I'm doing so well.
All right. Hey, got probably an easy question here for you, and this
thank
may
you.
be even in the instructions. Well, that's all I ask is easy questions for the most part. In the summary report, I know that I went through the instructions on that on how to set up a template,
Yeah.
and every time I go through it, I'm starting all over again. So I don't know what I've done wrong there in getting a template. I don't have to rebuild it every time.
All right. So, yeah. So what you do? Okay. Let me just walk through this. Preparing a download.
I mean, I don't want to waste anybody's time if it's in the instructions, but I didn't see it, or at least I'm doing it wrong.
I mean, I might have glossed over it. You know, sometimes the instructions are just off the top of my head. It's not downloading. So, oh, there it goes. Okay, takes a while here. Hopefully, it doesn't kick me offline all the way. All right, so now you know here that like the software doesn't download everything that you want.
Right.
You know here you need a title here.
Right.
So let me just show my ribbon a little bit. It helps me a little bit more. So here I'm going to insert a text box, and I'll do that. So I'm just going to say awesome title goes here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you're going to take that, you're going to design it, you're going to do anything you want with it,
right,
and put it out there and go, okay. So make it one smaller, and there we go. So what you do, you go through all the changes right through the whole document. You make it look exactly as you want it to look.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to save this. I'm going to say File, Save As. Let's put this on my desktop. Save as report template. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is basic stuff. Now,
you don't save that as a Word template. You just save it as template in your title.
Yeah, I say my report template. Okay. So now when I want to use it, I'm going to open it up. I know it's a template. I don't want to mess with the template. So I've got a lot of things here. I might have some things highlighted in yellow. I know I've got to change. It's all good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work with Joe's Ice Cream Shop. So what I'm going to do now, I open this up and I just go File, Save As. I'm now going to put it in a whatever new folder. Let's call it my client folder, and I'll call it Joe's Ice Cream because that's my client folder. And I'm going to go Joe's Ice Cream report, and I'll probably date it December 22nd. So you can put a little detail around it. So now we've got Joe's Ice Cream. You haven't messed with the original template. All you're doing now is changing the template, but your original template's changed, or I'm sorry, is preserved. You haven't messed with it. It's a perfect template.
Okay, but when I'm downloading the report, how do I get that template? I mean, how do I get the information into that template?
Okay, so when you download the report, so let me open up the report template.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can just bump that in the wall. You've got another one here, and you're going to go through, and you're just going to go, maybe you'll just change it. So as you go through, you might copy that, and you go into here, and you copy that there.
Oh, okay. All right.
You go and find, yeah, most of these are the same, right? I'll say yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, expect an increase in revenue. You know, that's the template says 5%, but you know, for Joe, it was actually, where is it? For Joe, it was 6%. So you just go in and you just change it there under that template. You just change your numbers inside Joe's template from the download. because this is set up perfectly with all the right fonts in place and all that. So you're just copying and pasting or just typing in. And obviously your template's got all the areas in. So if you're not doing market dominating position, you just exit out and it's gone.
Okay. And your page breaks automatically stay the same then? I mean, so you're
I
not.
don't know. I don't know about that.
Okay.
Yeah, take some time with it. Play around with it a few times, and maybe you have to do new page breaks. And maybe you've got to, take these things and move them up a bit, or you might change your font size or something like that.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
I mean, whatever works for you. So
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
that's what I would do though.
Okay. I don't know if I was looking for, for something different or whatever, but it just seemed like I built that template and then, I could never get the information from the client into the template. So now I understand.
No, that's exactly why. So it's less than elegant, and it's software, so it should work better. But it's such a pain to work with
Well,
text
I'd
over
rather,
images like this.
yeah, and I'd rather get you guys, working on the stuff you're working on than something like that because I can work with that. It's not a
Thank
big
you.
deal there. So yeah, I appreciate what you guys are doing because, every time you roll out something new, it just kind of get blown away by it, even though, the expectations are set pretty high. You guys are always meeting those and this kind of thing here that, we as coaches can play with and would probably want to play with it anyway. There's no point in you guys spending your time on it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And that's kind of what
Absolutely.
we're thinking the same way. We've got to,
Yep.
Just highest impact actions we can take as fast as we can get them done to help you
Absolutely.
guys make more money. And
then one last thing, I know I had this written down there somewhere, but I haven't picked up the digital software yet. Where do I find the address or what's the URL on that?
yeah, it's I think it's no results - no fee / DA software, DA for digital acceleration. Go there. You pick it up there. There's a buy button there. Once I get word of it, or my assistant gets word of it, then she goes in and sets you up, and you sends out a little email that says, "Hey, now you've got it."
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I think we're going to do that because I've been looking at doing something with, specifically for auto dealers, and this is one where, from a coaching standpoint, and I've worked with Carl on this a couple times. I had a couple of dealers that we were able to coach, but they're not really coachable prospects. But from a digital side, the OEMs are mandating that they spend half their advertising budget on digital. So they're basically, just telling us to work with their digital manager, and the digital managers, they know, database emailing and a little bit of SEO from Google and Google Analytics, that sort of thing, but they don't know much else. But I've got one dealer. He's just like, I got $14,500 I got to spend every month. And I'm like, well, geez, if we have to, yeah, So he's like, here's the budget, spend the money and just, tell my manager what they got to do.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll do that.
That's awesome. That's a dream scenario. We got to spend the money.
Well,
my fees are $5,000 a month to give you good advice.
And that's the thing. He's paying me $6,500 for that. So out of that $14,500, I get $6,500 whether he does anything or not. And that's the thing about auto dealers. That's why I told Carl. We've had this conversation many, many times. I'm like, it's like drug money because these guys they're so easy, but they are inconsistent. They're looking for the next shiny object all the time. Well, the digital acceleration software is kind of that for them, and it ties them down a little bit longer because it's not like, hey, this is a month in, a month out, like their typical advertising is. So I'm looking we'll make some money with that because now we have something to offer them. And dealers, they've got more money they know what to do with, and despite as much as they cry and all that, people don't understand that when you buy a vehicle, you're paying for that advertising. In fact, $585 of your window sticker is going into their advertising fund.
Wow.
So, when you have a dealer, and I used to teach media companies on how to do this, but if you had a dealer, that was moving, say, 200 vehicles a month, new vehicles, their advertising budget is going to be, excuse me, can't already talk here. They're going to be in the, tens of thousands each month, and it's not difficult for you to go and be able to walk out with that. Because I would tell people, I can walk into a dealership that I've never been into before and walk out with a $10,000 check. And people don't really understand that. But, when they look at that 200 vehicles a month equals, $100,000 in advertising, that's not coming out of the dealer's pocket.
Interesting. Interesting. Didn't know that.
So when you look at it, and you can also ask them, about how many advertising revenue streams that you think a dealership would have. And most people will go, well, they got new cars and used cars. Well, they do, but they've also got, the average dealership is going to have about 7 or 8 revenue streams. Everything from parts and body shop and, service and co-op and things like that.
Yeah.
That, you can get an auto dealer to spend, $5 or $10 grand a month with you just from co-op, because they have to spend the money.
Yeah.
And most people don't know it, so it's not anything out of their pocket really, because every time they deliver a new vehicle, you've just paid for that advertising.
No. Good to know. That's good.
Anyway,
to know.
didn't mean to get off the subject there, but other people out there,
That's
other
good to
coaches,
know. Thank you. Thanks,
when
Tony.
when you know that half their advertising budget, meaning like that, $117,000 for that dealer selling 200 cars,
Yeah.
$58,500 of that has got to go to digital every month.
Wow.
Now they're going to find a place to spend it.
Yep.
But if you can come in and show them something better than what they're doing, and most of them are just doing local, marketing, television, radio, that sort of thing, you can show them something better, something different.
Mm-hmm.
They'll move the money. They don't have a problem with it.
Yeah. That's cool.
But anyway, that's my spiel.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Tony. Appreciate it.
You bet.
I'll put you on mute.
Okay.
In a minute, I'm going to go to Stan Mann, and his middle name is now Doubt. So he's Standout Man. Is that right? Before I go to you, Stan, though, hang on. Just going to let everyone know before they all drop off and run away that there will be no call this Thursday because it's Christmas Eve. But we will be back next Tuesday. And then again, there won't be any call, I believe, on the Thursday for New Year's Eve. So this will be the last call this week. But here we go. Stan, are you there? Hang on a sec. Takes a little bit. It says you're self-muted, Stan. You're self-muted. There he is.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. Well, I got some questions about who would be good prospects for the past presentation. Now, I'm thinking that it would not be a good prospect if they're what I feel are direct competitors to me. For example, I wouldn't think that a business coach or a marketer would be a good prospect. Do you think my thinking is right there, or should I think of it a different way?
Well, I wouldn't help anyone that is in direct competition to you unless you can joint venture with them. So if you have a digital marketer that you can find a way to joint venture with, they're doing things that you can't do, don't want to do, an advertising, like a media company, things like that. But if they're in direct competition, I would not help them because they're going to start. I mean, what's the point of doing that? Like you can say, hey, here's your market dominating position. Yeah, it's actually better than mine. Go ahead and steal all my business. Doesn't make any sense. So
okay, well, yeah, good. I'm glad to hear that makes sense to me.
Well, did you have someone in mind that you wanted to help?
Oh, I get coach, especially marketers. I get marketers say, I offer to do I'm writing a book, and I'd like you to be be in the book. And the marketers just eat that up. Says, yeah, sure, I want to do that. And so initially I made a mistake and I took on a marketer, and then I found out, hey, I was just helping my competitor. So I learned to stop doing that.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
and it's good to hear your view, because that reinforces what I think and what I need to know.
Sure.
So that's really good.
You know, the only difference would be if there's a business coach out there that's in your territory, in your target market, serving your target market, and let's say they are brilliant at selling, but you've got this tool and you've got the resources that you can bring to the table. It's, you know, to join forces with someone like that can just sell like crazy, sell like a machine, and you're coming in, maybe you're doing assessments on their behalf and you're splitting the money. So, you know, if they're bringing in 4, 5, 6, 8 sales a month, and you're normally bringing in 1 sale a month or 1 sale every 2 months, I mean, why not joint venture with that person and team up a little bit, have an alliance or something?
Okay, and if you made an alliance like that, what kind of a split in the commission would you suggest?
Well, I mean, it could be just 50-50. You got someone who can bring in the business and you're doing the coaching. Okay, think of it this way. You got, let's say you want to sell your services. Let's say you're really great at coaching. You're great at using the software to find impacts in a business. And you're charging $2,000 a month. So you got to charge enough to make it worthwhile. Because if you're charging $1,000 a month and you're giving half it away, you're making $500 a month. That's a lot of work for very little money.
Yeah.
A lot of effort. So charge $2,000 a month. Say, look, you make the sales for me. I'll coach them. I'll give you $1,000 a month. And if they can sell like crazy, they can bring you 4 or 5 sales a month. And you're now going $4,000 this month. You're at $8,000 the next month. You're at $12,000 the next month. It totally makes sense. Why not do it? So it depends what you like to do. So for me, I like to, and over time, I like to speak from the stage. I like to do assessments for people. I like to find breakthroughs, but I don't really care to coach them long-term and spend that time digging into their business. I'd rather have someone else do that. So if I was out there, I would say, what are my strengths? Let me find someone who's strong in the areas I don't care to do, you know, things that drain me of energy, whatever. Get someone else to come in and do that for me. And let's go out and hit the trail together and let's make some money together.
Yeah, well, okay, that's great ideas.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, I'd like to just bring up one other point.
Sure.
Do you use the 10K challenge along with the PAS? Because when I started, that's all there was a 10K challenge, remember? And now
I remember.
Come along. And there's one coach suggested that what he does the 10K challenge first and chooses 10 of his favorite strategies, and then he goes and does another pass with them using the same 3 strategies. What do you think of anything like that or similar to that, or using them both?
Yeah, I would just say whatever your preference is. Like some people really prefer using the software. Some people love the 10K challenge, the whole thing that it brings. Some people like to just kind of marry the two together. I will tell you that we have been working on this new 100K training, which is developed into a 2-day training, which is almost near completion. We are looking at having it ready before the end of the year. I just wrote our PowerPoint designer, video expert, our new guy that we've had him in for about 6 months, and just asked him what's the delivery date on that. So I'm hoping it'll be here within a week, and it's going to be ready to go first thing in the new year, and there's going to be a major announcement about that.
Wow.
Something that everyone's going to go through, and everyone should want to go through it because it is really, really good. So we're trying to improve the training for that and marrying the two together, and you'll see how they fit really beautifully together But yeah, please hang on for the start of the new year. We should have it released very close to the start of the new year.
That sounds great. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you're
well,
welcome.
thank you very much for that feedback. Very helpful.
You're welcome, Stan. Yeah, all the best to you.
Mhm.
All right, put you on mute. I'm gonna do a last scan on the board. And don't see. All right, I'm gonna come to Blues Jack Frost. And Blues Jack, I saw your name come through I don't know, a few weeks ago as a new coach, and I'm just like, that is branding right there. Tell me the story behind this name.
Well, the story behind the name, my given name was Jack Frost.
Okay.
Ran into a buddy of mine. Actually, his name is Buddy Guy, musician friend out of Chicago. And
Okay.
we had a discussion over in the rain. Well, back in '93, we were watching some young cats doing their stuff on the blues stage and an outdoor concert here in Tulsa.
Okay.
And, we got to talking about things, how we could work a crowd or move them by the way we bent strings on a guitar and other techniques. My specialty, I was not a world-class musician, but I became a world-class piano tuner technician. And so I got to work with people like Willie Nelson, Paul McCartney, Cheap Trick, Jethro Tull, Van Cliburn, Ferrante and Teicher, and the jazz circuit, people like Stan Kenton, George Shearing. And so, buddies, during this conversation, we got engrossed in some of the things we had done and how we could communicate feelings through music. And he turned around to me and said, "You got the blues, Jack." And that fits you.
Wow.
So, I didn't think too much out of it, but it came back to haunt me a few times, and it kind of got stuck. And then I made changes to make a legal name change.
Wow.
And that's still up in the air. But meanwhile, I just registered it as a business name with my state and IRS.
Wow.
And so,
cool. Well done.
Whenever this COVID garbage gets out of the way, we'll be able to complete the change
Nice.
in the courthouse. But it's Blues Jack Frost. That way I can maintain some of my old things without having to change, like my military and all that stuff, and still use both names the way I need to.
Interesting. So cool. Well, before we go, do you have a question?
Yes, I'm sorry I ended up late. I was in another meeting, and
That's all right.
But this is some exciting stuff I'm seeing here. I'm learning the 10K and this profit acceleration software. This is the first time I've really looked too much at the digital acceleration element of it, and I'm looking forward to setting up some appointments next week. I'm working on them this week for next week, and
Nice.
I'll be starting my first appointments.
Well done. Sounds good. Well done. That's great. It's a great lesson for everyone. You can change your name. You can change your brand. I tell you, I changed my birthday. It's kind of a bit weird, but growing up in Canada and having a birthday that started January was just not any fun because everyone's just done parties after Christmas. Like no one wants to come to a birthday party, and I got tired of going bowling, So I told my family that my birthday is now August 8th. And so the last 5 or 6 years, we've had pool parties and in the middle of August because none of my other family members have birthdays in August. So it's been a lot of fun. But I think now I'm moving to Kenya. I think we'll move back to January and go back to pool parties in January. So.
Where in Kenya are you going?
I'm going to be in Nairobi.
In Nairobi. Good. I got friends out there. I'll introduce you.
Oh, cool. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Be sure to touch base with me. This is Perry, right?
Patrick.
Patrick.
Yeah.
Patrick. Okay.
Yeah. So, we used to live there 12 years ago. And the very quick story, because we're out of time, but basically the the black hole of everything happening, everything going wrong. So the day we arrived, our work permits were denied. 2 weeks later, we went through the post-election violence. It was 2007. The whole country went to civil war. And I was going to take a marketing job in a safari company. And obviously with the civil war, there's no safaris going on. So and then it was the 2008 global recession. So my partner that brought me over said, well, you don't have a work permit. We don't have a job for you. I know your container's on the way and you got your kids to feed. So just start consulting and keep your head down. And that's what I did. I got into business consulting and started dreaming up software. And because I didn't know how to ask, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. Like, so what questions do we ask? And, you know, I had probably 10,000 hours of study into this, but had no idea how to do anything like consulting, whatever. So that was the genesis of the software back in 2008. So 12 years in now. So we're going back to where it all began. And fun note that William, who is our developer, was my web developer back in Kenya 12 years ago. So he was dating his wife at the time. His girlfriend is now his wife. So we're going to pick up the Kenya office again. This time for leader. Anyway.
Excellent. I've got 3 or 4 friends I would like to introduce you to out there.
Wonderful. I look forward to that. Good. Well, let's connect again. Maybe not this week, but let me put it on my calendar perhaps for the first of the year before I go.
Yeah, I've got your email address. I'll drop you a line, Patrick.
Great. Thank you so much. Bluesjack, love it. It's great to hear your story around your name.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to put you on mute there, or you're on mute there, and just going to scroll down the board. Last chance. Sharon, I think put a little question in the chat box. Yeah, Ken had asked a lot over your head. You know, Ken, I would just say go through the training that Leader gives you. Follow the path. You know, we've got a coach on here that I think has had like a $50,000 a month, and he's like, what's your secret? And he said, I'm just following what you guys tell me to do. So do what they tell you to do it in the time they tell you to do it, take action. You know, I know it's Christmas and whatever, maybe you need a mental break, or maybe you're just starting, but a great time to go in and learn what you need to learn. Dive into the software, you know, go through the software with a friend, or, I mean, do it by yourself if you have to. Speak out loud to your dog if you have to. Get with a friend, run it through with a friend several times, run every scenario you can, have your friends say, I'm going to be really hard to close, I'm going to be a manufacturing company, I'm hard to close, I'm going to be an idiot, whatever. Run every type of scenario, and just get used to doing it over and over and over and over and over again. And come back in the start of the year, and you're just going to be ready to get out there and hit the road. And the software, though, I believe is your secret to success, because you'll see that with the software, you can identify breakthroughs for a business at a higher level than Tony Robbins, than Jay Abraham, than some of these so-called gurus out there, because you have a tool in your hand that it allows you to be systematic with breakthroughs. So this is the I don't know, call it the holy grail of business coaching, but maybe it's getting there, but certainly close to it. It is really your market dominating position. So get to know the software, and if you spend the next 10 days doing that, you'll have so much confidence in you that you won't be able to stop. You stopped in the new year. So good. All right. And okay, I think that's it, guys. So I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas. And yeah, let's connect after Christmas. If you want to come in, if you've got some time, you want to ask questions around the software, I'll be working here part-time, and actually after Christmas, the only thing I'm doing is doing the Q&A call between Christmas and New Year's, and take the rest of the time off and recharge my batteries a little bit. And not that I need a big recharge because I really love what I'm doing. And yeah, so I'll talk to you guys in the new year or right after Christmas. So Merry Christmas to you all and talk to you later. Bye-bye.